am Kate,
Hi, I'm Val.
and we are Guidebook Not Included,
I
which is
practiced.
more fun when Val says it.
I have to
Let's hear you
think.
say.
I've practiced. Guidebook not included.
Good.
I think it's the fastest I've ever said it.
We also have to hear you update us on how you say Missouri.
Okay, so I became really self-conscious about it after, but I practiced with Sean and he explained it to me very
Much better than I did.
maybe over the top so that I would understand. So the state is Missouri and the emotion is misery.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Mm-hmm. Missouri and
I
Missouri.
hope I didn't offend anyone, but it made me laugh because, like, now every time I think of it, I'm like, I really sound like I'm saying misery instead of Missouri.
Because you're like, we drove through Missouri, and I was
like, we drove through hell. Why the hell not?
No, yeah, I asked James about it.
Sorry.
James was like, well, when we were in Lawrence at KU, we would all call it Missouri. Like, we'd all joked about it being called Missouri. So you were just being a normal Lawrence person.
Yeah,
calling it Missouri.
Again, should have been born there. What am I doing here with the snow and the cold? Like,
oh, let's see. James asked me if when you were in Lawrence, if you ever ate at the Salty Iguana. It's like a Mexican restaurant.
Have to.
And it's got iguanas all over the walls. Fake iguanas all over the walls.
I'm sure
it's
I would remember.
And then it's got like a giant painted green iguana against like one of the walls. It's like playing basketball or something.
What kind of food do they have?
I think it's Mexican food. It was a Mexican restaurant.
Rings a bell, but I would have to check with Sean because I know Mass, like Massachusetts Street, and that's about it. But like most of the stuff is on that street, but I didn't really pay attention.
I don't know if that one is or not. I'm not sure. But that's one that you'll have to go to. Or if you're ever in Lawrence, if you ever make it to Lawrence, I'm going to make James and I drive up there so we can go see you and go eat at the Salty Iguana.
Oh, yeah. I remember a pizza place that was really, really good, and they had beer. And I don't know if it's common in the US, but I was really surprised that a pizza place had beer.
Like Old Chicago and Pizza Hut. Well, not Pizza Hut, but like Old Chicago is like a pizza place. And they have beer in a bar, in a brewery.
Yeah, I really don't know how it's called.
I think they just go together.
It just reminded me that when Sean watches the episodes, he wants to scream the words. Like, you know, when I'm searching for my words, and he's like last time I was looking for the word thigh. But every time in my head, I'm like, is that a thigh? Is that a calf? Is that I can't even remember what's the other one that I confuse it with. And he was just like, it's thigh. It's thigh. Say the word thigh. I know you know it.
What were you trying to use thigh for?
Because I have a tattoo on my thigh. He was just like, he says, I want to scream at you when I listen because I know you know the word.
It always amazes me that like you're translating all this in your head too. I mean, that you translate in your head all the time. I mean, but you speak English to your kids and stuff, right?
I'm not at the point anymore where I have to translate everything in my head, except when I spoke a lot of French that day, or I don't know, some days I have brain farts and I just can't think in English. But most of the time, like if I watch a movie that could be in French or English, I can't tell. Like, oh, I've seen that movie. Did I watch it in English or French? I have no idea. I don't remember because like sometimes there are a few words that I don't know, but it's rare. Or it's just like, oh, in this context, I'm not sure what this means, but with the context, I kind of get it. But yeah, I'm past the point where I have to translate everything in my head now, which is a great success of being bilingual. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool.
But yeah, today we're going to talk about budget and debt because, you know, we have to make this about how to adult and give tricks. And
not just watching TV.
Not just watching TV, even though I really like our conversations about this. That's
really going to be like our side part of our channel. It's just TV shows.
Yeah, just TV shows. Yeah, so in my blog, A Grammar Nerd's Life, I really like to focus on like helping people like our generation and hopefully the generations after us.
It's very helpful. Check it out.
Thanks. But it's like there's so many things we should have been taught in school. And apparently now they are learning how to budget. But back in my days, it was not a thing. Like, I'd rather learn this than the Pythagorean thing.
The Pythagorean theorem?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. Like, for me, I understand it's useful for people, but for me, being good with languages, well, mostly French, like, I'd rather learn how to make a budget rather than learning whatever, how to calculate a slope, which I truly don't care about. So yeah, I try to
when do you
focus.
ever need to calculate slope in our life?
It has traumatized me. Like, I remember being in sixth
Y equals
grade.
mx plus b.
I remember being in sixth grade and like everyone was getting it, like they could understand it, and I was just like, what is this? Why are they letters in my formula? Like,
did you get to use a graphing calculator?
Huh?
Did you use a graphing calculator?
I have no idea.
Do you know the cool calculators that you graph things on?
No. I know how to write boobs on a calculator.
I'm getting this. Sadly, I know where my graphing calculator is. I never use it.
You just need to give me a general idea of what that is.
It's a big calculator.
Okay, and yeah, I had one like that. Not pink, because I'm jealous, actually.
But it has like even like the y equals to do like your slope and everything. So y equals, and you can graph things. But the more fun thing is, I need to put new batteries in this because it has really fun games on it. My friends,
you have games on a calculator?
Yeah, okay, so I'll put the batteries in it sometime. I can't remember what games I had. My friend put games onto it for me because there's a way to like, you can plug it into something and you can like program these like games in it. And so I would just sit there in math class in the back and I would just like play like Tetris and stuff for like the whole math class.
I'm mind blown.
I think there was Tetris and like while you're typing boob, I'm playing Tetris.
Okay, that would have made math so much interesting.
Right? Because I would just sit there and I would just play, like, we'd play Tetris or we would play like our, I can't remember what other games were on it. I'm pretty sure it was, I need to put new batteries on and I can see if those games are still on here and then I'll give you guys an update once I get some new batteries.
I'm curious.
Yeah, because it was so much fun. But that's what I did during geometry class in high school, or algebra in high school.
And I was more like trying to understand and I just couldn't. One time, okay, we're sidetracking here, but when I was it's secondary 3 in Quebec, so you're like 13, 14 years old. I had a math teacher who was actually, I don't know, she figured me out and I understood everything from that year. So I was put in math enriched the next year, enriched math, and I had 5% on my first exam. I'm really bad at math in general. But yeah, so back to budgeting. So yeah, on my blog, I recently, well, not so recently, I think it was in December, I posted that I am working on debt repayment because I want to be out of debt. I'm not like thousands and millions of dollars in debt, not at all. I had like 17K in global, like an aggregate amount. And I wanted to pay it off, and I'm living alone. And while I was with my ex, he always took care of our finances. So like my paycheck would go in the account and he would make sure every bill was paid. And like the only thing I was in charge was like the groceries and paying our rent, but it was still in the same bank account. We had a joint account. So for like my whole life after moving out of my parents, I never managed finances. So when I started living alone, I was like, holy cow, I am not good at this. And money was always like a very hot topic with my ex and I. We would get in fights a lot about that because I'm really not good at managing money. But again, I never learned how to do it. So in December, I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. I cannot sleep at night. So I ended up contacting my finance counselor, and I told her, like, look, make me a plan as simple as possible. Just tell me, like, where to transfer my money so that I can get out of debt as soon as possible. So again, it was 17K. And now I paid off a personal loan entirely, and I'm almost done with one of them. And I am also close to be done with my line of credit, which is really good because basically my ex didn't really like credit cards and lines of credit, but when we bought our house, we just had it. Like it was included with our mortgage for like extra expenses when you move, if there's an emergency, but I was the one using it. So I have to pay it off. So yeah, I wanted to, just get out of that before Sean gets here, or at least be like make sure I progressed a lot so that he doesn't have to take care of it, because that's a big no-no for me. And so I'm maybe close to halfway through, but if I keep it up, I might be debt free by December this year. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be so awesome.
I gotta say the first quarter of the year was really rough because basically all my money would go towards like finishing to pay off one of my personal loans. And but now because I paid it off, I have like a bit more flexibility. So I don't struggle as much. Like oh, Sean got so mad at me for that, but for an entire week, me and the kids ate ramen for like dinner or lunch. And he was like, you should have told me. But I have an ego and I don't like asking for help, and I wanted to, do this by myself. And at the end of the week, I was just like, I cannot eat more ramen. Like the Mr. Noodles in a 30-cent bag. So like I would make sure the kids would eat. Anyway, they don't like food in general. They would live off ramen for the rest of their days if I allowed them to. But
Well, at least that was good for them. So at least it wasn't like traumatic for them or anything.
no. And
They loved it.
they loved it. But at the end of the week, I was like, I cannot do that again. And like there's no shame in that. Honestly, like we all have bad weeks. It happens. Just, what's the expression? Lift up your sleeves. That feels like a
Roll up
French.
your sleeves.
Yeah, roll up your sleeves. There you go. And just it's gonna be better soon. All you need to do is create a plan. If you can do it by yourself, because I tried to do it by myself, it just wasn't working. And my finance counselor really took a look at all my finances, like what comes in, what goes out. And even though I was like sometimes short on money, all my bills were always paid. And I was not like, my power wasn't turned off because I didn't pay. So yeah, basically you need a plan. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, nobody will do it for you. Like you have to do it, and you have to, like get rid of bad habits. Like I used to order so much food from Uber. Uber. Sean makes fun of me every time I say Uber, but every time I'm like, wait, which one is good? So yeah, when I didn't have the kids, like I didn't want, it's boring to make food for one. So I would order almost every night from Uber. But the problem is, like, first, junk food is not great for your health. Definitely not. And it's okay once in a while, but like, maybe do it on Friday, Saturday, but not, Monday to Sunday. Yeah, so I didn't like to cook for myself. I thought it was Like, why put in the effort? I don't care. I could, I don't even mind eating like a peanut butter toast for dinner. But I would be like, oh, I'm feeling like eating, I don't know, whatever, like sushis, or order a hamburger or stuff like that. But it adds up so quickly, because not only you need to pay for your meal, you need to pay for the tip, you need to pay for the delivery fee. And I was like, okay, last week I wasted $200 on Uber. That's a lot of money you could have put towards your credit card debt or something like that. So yeah, basically
Mm-hmm.
my first tip is make up a plan. Like, and again, if you can't do it by yourself, there is no shame in getting help. um I'm a big believer, like, if you can do it yourself, ask for help. And it works for anything in life, basically. I'm good at French, and I ask my friend all the time about how to conjugate a verb because I can't remember. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Where did you
And
find your financial advisor
well,
or
I've known
counselor?
her since 2010, 11. Basically, it's so like silly how we met her. She sells life insurance for life insurer in Canada. Maybe it's American company too. I don't know. It's called Industrial Alliance. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so she was making cold calls to get clients because she was just starting, and she happened to stop by the mall where Joe was working back then. And they started talking, and they were like, yeah, we just moved into our first apartment, so we could, like, just pitch us your product and we'll see if we can afford it. But she's really great with finances, and we've always kept in touch with her. She is in charge of our life insurance. She's in charge of the kids' life insurance as well. And but every time, like, I have a question, like, oh, I don't know what to do about this financial aspect, she replies to me. I have her on Facebook, and yeah, she's and side note, but she suffers from epilepsy as well. So when Mary had her first seizure, she was really nice, like, in telling me what's going to happen, and like what to expect, what to check for. And so we have a really great relationship. So this is how
That's
I found
awesome.
her. But I'm pretty sure you could go to your bank and ask to talk to a finance counselor. um,
Okay.
I don't see why they wouldn't want to help you. I don't know, in the States, like, I don't have to pay for the service. I don't know if she's not charging me because I've been her, like, we've been one of her first clients. So I don't know if she charges for other people, but she never charged me anything for that. And I mean, she's still taking care of my life insurance to this day. Um, but I don't see why they would charge you if you want to, you know, if you go to the bank, just like when you go to the, is it called a teller? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. Like, they don't charge you for these transactions, do they?
Mm-mm.
Okay, just making sure. But
No.
yeah, just I know that there's also, like, if you're, sorry, considering bankruptcy, I know that there are services for that. But again, bankruptcy to me is really scary, because you are stuck with it for, at least in Canada, for 7 years. So you
Yeah.
have bad credit for 7 years. So forget about buying a house, getting a new car. Like, you most likely won't be accepted, and you'll have to resort to shitty places with incredibly high interest rates. So, but yeah, basically, what I understood about budgeting by talking with my finance counselor that I didn't understand before, like, no matter how many times Joe and I talked about budgeting is not about restricting your expenses. It's about paying your bill, well, your bills, because you obviously have more than one, and then budget your other expenses. Like, you need to budget for food, for gas, for I believe she made mine, I could look it up. Like, she made a category car, a category home, so it includes my rent, it includes my home insurance, it includes power, what else? I don't think it includes anything else, but like in car. So, well, my card is paid for, so I don't have to include car payments. But there's like gas, car insurance. She asked me for an estimate of how much I pay in repair for my cars, repair or maintenance for my car, and she split it over 12 months. So every pay, I put a small amount of money in a separate account. So like if I have to, like in Quebec, you need to have winter tires in the winter. It's mandatory. So like if I need to go to the garage, to the mechanic, I have the money already. So this is a really good thing that I had never thought about. She includes like a budget for like if I want to buy video games, if I have to buy gifts for the kids, like on their birthday, on Christmas, if they go to birthday parties, which is, they don't happen right now, but they will happen again at some point. Or if like Mother's Day, you want to buy something nice to your mom, it just like allocates your money so that you don't feel restricted. So let's say, I can't remember what's the amount exactly, but I think she allocated me like $50 per 2 weeks for takeout or ordering through Uber. So I don't feel bad about ordering because I know it won't put me in a difficult financial position. So I won't feel bad about it. And I would be like, oh, that's my treat, or that's like my second treat because I still have some money left. And when you don't have it anymore, you don't have it anymore. That's it. I know that the reason I got into personal finances at first is there's a great podcaster named Jessica Morehouse. Her podcast is called the Mo Money Podcast, and she is a finance counselor. And I can't remember exactly what she does, but she's just like a money guru or something like that. She's really good at explaining it, and her podcast is just so interesting. I'll put the link in the show notes because I'm a really big fan of her. And so she got me interested into this topic at first because it can sound boring, but at the same time, it's so important. Like money rules our world, unfortunately. So I forgot what I was talking about before I mentioned her.
You were saying, what was it? I know you were talking about the allocating your money so you wouldn't feel bad.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember. So in one of our episodes, I think it's in the earlier episode, because I think she's been podcasting for like 5, 6, 7 years now. So she said, if you're comfortable with having like cash money, just get your money out of your account, put it in envelopes. So like one for food, one for paying your bills, one for I don't know, like extra expenses, one for savings. Well, savings, you should always put them in a savings account with a high interest rate. But I can't remember what are the categories, but she was like, let's say, so like when we were all going to the office, I work in downtown Montreal. There are like 25 Tim Hortons on the way to work, 50 Starbucks, 100 McDonald's. So in the morning, it's hard to resist the temptation of, grabbing a coffee before going to work. So she would say, like, let's say for your week, you put $20 in your envelope. When your $20 is over, you have to wait for next week or next payday. So I thought it was a really interesting take on it, but I don't like having cash money. But I did it for a while because I was like, Joe and I are fighting about the fact that I always grab a coffee, and it's like $2.50 every day. It amounts to $15. I'm really not good at calculating, but like $10-15 every week. Make it 4 times, multiply it by 4 because there are 4 weeks in a month. Okay, don't ask me to calculate, but it adds up really quickly, and it's money you could have put towards your retirement fund, towards your debt, towards you could invest it even. I plan on investing at some point. We will get back to this topic when I will start to invest, because I'm really interested in it, but starting to invest when you're in debt is not the best idea, other than like for your retirement fund. I think it's your 401k in the US. So saving for your retirement is essential. Like if you want to stop working someday and not like at 95 years old, you need to save for your retirement. But other than that, yeah, you shouldn't look into investing until you're out of debt, obviously, because on your debt, you most likely have interest. And I'm sorry, I need to take a sip of water. Allergies are killing me. Like I really want to scratch my throat with a fork or something. But I won't. Yeah, so getting out of debt, you really need to set up a plan, as I said, probably 100 times since we started recording. Because if you don't have the big picture, you can't possibly know how to allocate your money. And you still need to buy food, you still need to pay your rent, you still need to pay your bills, but you need to know if you have money left once you paid everything off to put towards your debt. And you always need to save a little bit for yourself, because we work so hard in life. If you don't enjoy it and just pay off debt, it's not gonna last. You're gonna get back into your old habits, which we do not want. So do you have a question? I don't want to cut you. Okay. Basically, I know there are multiple approaches to debt, paying off debt, but the most common ones are the avalanche and the snowball technique. So the snowball technique it was my favorite technique until I met with my finance counselor, because yes, paying off your credit card is important. It's probably like, other than a mortgage or a car payment, it's probably your highest debt, and it has a high interest rate. It's most likely around 20 to 30%. That's a lot. That's really high. So obviously you want to focus on that. But with the snowball method, what I like is that, just like a snowball, like you roll it and you roll it and it becomes bigger and bigger. So you work on the smallest debt. You don't look at the interest rate. You take the smallest debt, you pay it off. You got a milestone. So it motivates you to keep going, because you paid off this small one, and then you go up. Use a preposition there. I can't remember which one to use. So you go to the small one, then the medium one, then the larger one, and then the largest one. So, and the money you were putting towards the smallest debt, you can always add it to the other amounts after. Let's say, for example, you have $1,000, and the other one is $2,000, and the other one is $5,000, and the other one is $10,000. So you pay off the $1,000 debt. Once it's paid off, you were already used to putting the money towards this. So just add it to your other payment, pay off the $2,000 one, and then move up. You always move up. So this is a technique.
You're paying on all of them at the same time, but you're putting more in towards the 1,000, right?
You always have to make your minimum payments. That's one thing I should have said before. Always make sure to make your minimum payments, because it will badly affect your credit score if you don't.
But then whatever extra you're paying for the $1,000 one, you now put towards the $2,000.
Yeah, let's say you were putting $50 per week or per 2 weeks or per month or whatever on your $1,000 debt. Well, you have that extra $50 that was already put towards this. So you will slowly but surely increase the amount of money you're putting towards paying your debt. The problem with this technique is that while you are paying the smaller ones, the one with the biggest interest rate will continue to increase and increase and increase. And that's more money you're paying to a credit card company or financial institution. So that's because you are pushing the payment of this debt, they are making more money on your back. So this is why my finance counselor was like, we are gonna attack this the other way around, which is the avalanche method, the avalanche approach. I need water again. I'm so sorry. I should have taken an allergy pill before.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on my sinuses. Like, I have a brush to clean my metal straws. I just want to brush it up my nose and scratch my sinuses. Seasonal allergies, everyone. But yeah, the avalanche technique, you pay off the highest interest, the debt with the highest interest rate. So that extra money, like, you attack the biggest one. It doesn't have to be the biggest one, it's just the one with the highest interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at like on the long term, you will save more money this way. But sometimes it just doesn't work for some people, and you just get discouraged because even though your other, if we take the same numbers, even though your $1,000 debt isn't like costing you as much in interest as the one with the $10,000 one, you will still pay more money. No, that's not what I wanted to say. It will, you just feel like you're never seeing the end of the $10,000 one, because it will take more time, but on a like saving more money on the long run, it's the better approach.
Okay.
And there's another technique, which is like the snowflake technique. I don't know why it's winter terms. I hate winter. I didn't make them up. They are actually used in the financial industry. But I'm sorry. The snowflake technique is like you pay off a debt, no matter what's the interest rate, no matter what's the amount. It doesn't have to be the smallest one. It doesn't have to be the biggest one. You just pay off one of them. It's like, snowflakes. You pay this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. So do whatever works for you, but as long as you have a plan, you will get to the end of it. And this is why budgeting is so important, because again, without a plan, you won't see the big picture. So it feels like there's all these like payments that are going into your bank account, and you're just like, oh, did I pay this? Did I pay that? And oh, how much money do I have left? Can I buy new clothes? Can I not buy? Should I not order this week or something like that? Like, you need to have a plan to really get where your money's going, why is it going there, and when, and what's the amount. So for the first few months, I was writing down every single expense that was coming out of my bank account.
Did you use like a spreadsheet?
You could use a spreadsheet, but I'm more like pen and paper for that, because I just like check my phone and then I write it down. And it's like probably the only times that I've written in a long time, like written pen and paper. And I was using my really cute pink pen, and it was fun. I made it a fun activity, like just buy a cute notebook or whatever, and just write down everything. So if you do that for a couple of months, you will see like, oh, okay, every 15th day of the month, I have my car insurance. Every 28th of the month, I have my internet and stuff like that. So you will also be able to plan your expenses. So like you can create many savings accounts. Well, I think you only need one, but what I do is I calculate all the bills I'm going to pay. I'm paid every 2 weeks, so I calculate the amount of money I will pay in bills for that 2 weeks period. Anyway, phrase that how you want. And so I know, like, okay, my electricity bill is coming, my phone bill is coming, my internet bill is coming. So I'm not like, oh, shoot, I didn't have money in my bank account for that, I spent it, which is a problem, because you're like, you don't want to lose your phone service or your internet service. And so the problem with that is sometimes I forget to transfer the money back into my checkings account. So I'm like, oh shit, the payment didn't go through. It's because I forgot to put the money there. So by having a schedule, you will be able to, not miss payments. Like I put so many reminders on my Google Calendar, just like, okay, today I have to pay this, just to make sure I think to check in my bank account, okay, the money is there.
Because you're putting other money, so you have the checking account and a savings account.
Yep.
And so then, okay.
Yeah, and I also, my finance counselor made me take into consideration the fact that when you have kids, I don't know about in the US, but in Canada, you get allocations for them, which is like money from the government for having kids. So I know like every 3 months I get money from the Quebec government, and every month, every 20 of the month, I get allocations from the Canadian government, like the federal one. So she made me take that into consideration, because maybe like on some weeks I'm like, oh, okay, I had a little bit more payments, or my groceries cost me more than expected. So I know that I can rely on that money that's coming from the government. Like, oh, okay, so maybe I will wait until the 20 to do my grocery shopping instead of going on the 17. So, like, really take into consideration the whole picture, like what's coming in, what's going out, when, how much, what's the date. And yeah, setting up reminders on your calendar, whether it's on a paper calendar in your daily planner, your agenda, your Google calendar, or whatever, so you don't forget them. And just the fact that you pay your bills on time, it will increase your credit score. And not missing like the minimum payments for anything. Like, for instance, I have a loan for my washer and dryer because Joe left with them. And so I thought my due date is on the 4th, but I was always paying it like on the 1st because I wanted to make sure they have the money. But it affected my credit score because they thought I was late. They thought it was like the payment of the month before.
Huh.
And my finance counselor was like, yeah, it's affecting your credit score, girl. Pay it on the 4th.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
it's not good to pay early?
Not for everything. So like this is why I have reminders on my calendar, just to say like, okay, today I have to pay the minimum payment of my credit card. So I'm sure they had it on the day it was due. But like for other things like your driver's license, your license plates, stuff like that, also you need to take that into consideration in your budget. Just like keep it in mind. And even though it's setting up like, I don't know, $5 per paycheck, just put it in another account and you will have the money when your driver's license is due, or whatever else. I am dying.
So you
Please
don't have
leave
like
me
10
alone.
different bank accounts though. Like, I mean, it's like you have the one, do you have like a car bank account then? Where you put all your car money in?
No,
Or does that go in your savings account?
I have 3 bank accounts. So I have my checkings account, I have my savings account where I put the money for all my bills, and I have another one which is like money for other expenses that will come throughout the years. Like I said earlier, like the car maintenance, it could be a birthday party, Christmas gifts, because like everybody is freaking out in December and getting like maxing up their credit cards for gifts. And it's like, yeah, but you had 11 months to buy them. You don't have to buy them in December. My problem with that is I get so excited when I buy a Christmas gift and I'm like, it's November, I don't care, here's your Christmas gift. So, but if you save the money for it, like let's say you choose 10 people, 10%. No, 10 people is fine. Is it? Oh my god, I don't know. You choose 10 persons to like who you will give a gift to, and you decide to have a budget of, let's say, $50 per person. So throughout the year you need to save $500. I told you I'm not good with calculations. So you need to save throughout the entire year $500. So when you will get to December, you will already have the money for it. So you won't max out your credit card. You already have it, which is a good
That's
thing. And
smart.
I started doing it this year. Well, this year I didn't buy gifts for anyone else than my kids and Sean because we weren't allowed to celebrate because of COVID and restrictions. Um, but yeah, I had the money in my bank account if I wanted to buy gifts for like my parents or something else like that, someone else like that.
That's really smart.
Yeah. I can't remember who told me to do that. Is it my finance counselor? Maybe it's on the Jessica Morehouse podcast. I can't remember, but I thought it was brilliant and I was like, why didn't I think of that before?
Yeah. So I have another bank account, but I don't know, I lost the debit card for it, and I keep losing my PIN number. It's in the house somewhere, I think. I don't know. I keep forgetting. I forget all my like information for it, but that was kind of the same process. Was I made another bank account for like, just so I know I have some money in there, like in case. I mean, it's not very much, but there's a little bit in there. I don't even know what's in there right now. I don't even know how to check anymore. I forgot all my passwords for it.
That doesn't help.
No.
How do you function?
I mean, I have the information for my main bank account, and so I check that account and I make sure it's like not below my limit. But like this other bank account here in Colorado, I keep forgetting like the information for it. So, yeah. But that makes me think I need to make like, I'm really bad with the money. And so I need to have like a spreadsheet with James where I sit down with him and like, because like heaven forbid if something were to happen to him, like I want to know like what are we like I don't even know what we're paying for electric bills and gas bills and stuff because James pays all that. So I'm like, we need like a spreadsheet where it's like I pay this company on this day this much money, and I pay this company this much money on this day, so I can like have it in case something ever happens. I'm not like scrambling to be like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with this heartache, and I also like don't know like where my bills are at. Like I don't have to be struggling for that.
I can always make you a template in English because the budget that I have is in French. But like on my blog, I made a spreadsheet for budgeting, but I didn't include these other consideration, like other expenses that will happen throughout the years. Or like if you have a house, like you need to consider repairs at some point or renovations, or like you don't want to get like $30,000 in debt to remodel your kitchen. Like it's okay to like remortgage your house or ask for a loan for that, but still if you already have some money saved for that, like for specifically for renovations or repairs or like an emergency. Like one time I had to call a plumber out of the blue because my toilet wasn't working anymore. Turns out that Liam threw a yogurt cup into the toilet, so every time I was flushing it was getting further and further. So, and at some point it blocked and it was like, yay, okay, $150 to remove a fucking yogurt cup from the toilet. Why in the world did he do that? I don't know. I'm not even surprised with my son, but it was like, that was $150 that I hadn't planned for. And it's not like a $5 thing. It was $150. So, yeah, it's really important to take into consideration these extra expenses that could happen. But yeah, I couldn't make a template based on what my finance counselor made for me.
I was gonna say you should put that on your blog.
Yeah, because I really like the way she put it. Because like I made a spreadsheet with all these lines of like, these are your expenses for your home, these are your expenses for your car, these are your expenses for food or whatever. But it's more like you enter your own stuff. Well, it is a template, but I don't know. I like the way she did it, and yeah, I think I might use it and put it as a freebie on my blog because, I mean, it helps me. I'm about halfway through my debt right now. Well,
which is so awesome.
It is such a relief. Like when I paid off a personal loan in March, even though March was not a good month for me in general, like my anxiety and I lost my grandpa, and it was not a good month, but this was a milestone that really kept me going. Like, oh my God, I paid that off. What a great feeling. Like I don't have to think about it anymore. It's over. So yeah, I think that covers it.
When you question about the whole, like, I know you mentioned the shared bank account. Are you planning on doing that again? Would you do a shared bank account again?
Probably, but I know, okay, so we're going to go into relationships and money a bit, but the problem with what I was doing with Joe was because he was in charge of the finances, we had a shared bank account. So I was like spending, and then he was like, hold the door, you need to stop spending, like we have this and this and this, and it's like, yeah, but I didn't know you, like I had no concept. I paid electricity for the first time when I moved here in July 2020. So Like he spent all these years that we've been living together paying it off, but well, paying for it. So I knew we had bills, but like, oh, there's still money in the bank account. I can like grab some food with the girls at work instead of eating my lunch that I already made and that's in the fridge in the cafeteria. So yeah, I Sean and I talked about it and we're probably going to do it again, but you have to be open about finances. Like if you don't know, you don't know. Like I had no concept when were our bills due other than like our mortgage. I knew when it was due because I was there. I signed the paper, but other than that, like I had to pay for my phone and that's about it. So I don't think that a shared bank account, a joint account is a bad thing at all. I think it makes it easier because at the end of the day, it's our money. I'm not judging people who don't have a joint bank account. Um, like you manage your money the way you feel comfortable, but at the end of the day, you are a couple. You are, sharing your finances. Like, I'm not saying necessarily my money is your money, but still, it's like it goes towards the household. So I don't think it's a bad idea to do it, but again, it has to be an open conversation and no shaming. Like, oh, okay, this month maybe you spent a little too much, so let's try to make it to like $50 this month. And yeah, I was shamed a lot, not necessarily by Joe, because I'm really a harsh critic on myself. So like I beat myself down and I let him down and I'm the worst person in the world and I'm so not a responsible adult. And I don't want this to happen again. So finances have to be an open and honest conversation. Like if you don't know when your bills are due, you cannot possibly know how much money you have left to spend. Or like you can always have a savings account. Like let's say your paychecks are deposited in your joint account. You can always open an account on the side, or go to the ATM to get cash money. Like it's what you're allowed to spend on whatever the hell you want, whether it's coffee, clothes, books, games, whatever. And so yeah, I think that covers it.
I guess James and I decided, so I'm one of the non-joint people that you were shaming. I'm just kidding.
I am so not shaming.
No, I think that was one of the big things that, like, I don't know, looking back at our relationship when we started, we never really debated any of these things. I mean, like the whole no kids was common and the whole like the money thing, we just never really debated it. It was just a non-issue, which is shocking. I know that's usually a conversation people have. But we both decided to like have our own bank accounts. We don't even have a joint one. That it wouldn't be a bad idea to have like a joint one where all our money goes into bills, like where we each put like $100 or $200 each a month into for our bills. But because I pay for rent every month and then he pays the bills, because he pays like the cable and the electric, and we don't have to pay water, we don't have to pay trash, so he pays the other bills. And then
wait, you have to pay for trash?
Yeah, there's like a trash services, but we don't have to pay that because our landlords work at the shop next door, and so they have a big dumpster, and so they pay for the trash, and they use our water line.
I don't know. Well, I'm sure I would have known by now. And I've had 2 houses before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it's everywhere. I don't think it's everywhere, but like here it's a thing. And so, but I mean, there's like if my rent doesn't cover, like isn't equal for the month with like, because he pays for like the hotels and the gas and everything comes out of his account. But then he also has access to my account to pull for like his Discover card. Like he'll pay some of the credit card bills with my money. And a lot of it's just based on trust, where I just trust that he's not gonna like screw me over and just like, I'll look in there and I'll be like, hey, like you took out like $2,000 this month. What was that for? And he's like, oh, that's because you bought your laptop.
That was for Coke.
Like, Yeah.
Or
I was
sex
like,
workers.
was that 600 for, I was like, what was that 600 for? And he's like, oh, because you bought the laptop. But because a lot of times what we do is I had really shitty credit. And he had really good credit. And so he got all these credit cards. And so we buy a lot of things on his credit cards to build his credit and to get the points for things. And then he gets like different benefits for it, like hotel points and other random points. And so we use his credit card because we get a better deal. But he's really good with all of his credit cards are on like automatic payments, and he like pays them off early or on the day of. I think he pays us early, but it hasn't been charging him for paying early. My credit's getting a little bit better. It's in like the fair range now. It used to be poor, and now it's in the fair range, I think. That's fun to watch that number go up. But I don't even know why it's going up. I have a Maurice's credit card, and that's the only credit card I have. But even that one, I used it at Maurice's. I'm going off topic a little bit. I used it at Maurice's, and then they're like, you can also just like, we can scan the receipt now, and you can pay off your credit card bill here. So at Maurice's, you can like pay with your credit card, and then they scan your receipt, and then you pay your debit card to pay off that credit card bill right there in the store. So I'm building my credit, and I'm getting 10% off my.
Oh, okay.
I get 10% off. I get 10% off my Maurice's purchase from using my debit or my credit card, but then I can just pay off my. Because I was like, oh, I don't know the website to go pay it off yet, and they're like, oh, you can just pay it right here. And so then they just scan it, and I paid it with my debit card, and it showed. I got a text later saying your credit bill was paid, and I was like, okay.
It's a good way to build credit because
yeah, it was really simple. I was like, I was like, I'm gonna forget to go to the website and like pay this off. And they're like, no, you can just pay it right here. Cause I had the money. I just wanted the benefit. And so we do, I mean, he's the money purchase, which is why I need eventually like a spreadsheet just in case something were to happen. I need to know what we're spending.
Yeah, of course.
But I also trust that he's not like taking too much of my money, or I'm like, if you need more, like, let me know. And I tell him like, hey, this is what my bank account's at right now. Like, so I'm fine. But we are just, I don't know. I think it's one of those things for me and him that it doesn't stress us out. I mean, he'll occasionally like, what are you spending money on now? But like, we very much do our own money. So like I have my, because also I have student loans and I have other things that I'm in debt for that I need to be conscious of that he doesn't need to worry about. So I don't want to pull from like our joint account and pay for my loans each month.
Yeah.
Because that's not his deal. I mean, I know we're married now and everything, but those were loans before him. And so, then it's like, if I buy my makeup or my skincare, or if I want to buy clothes, there's no guilt on it. I know what my income is. I know what my bank account is. I know what number I don't want to go below on my bank account. And so then I know I have rent coming up, or I have this coming up. And so I know to keep it above that number, because if it's at that number, then I can help him with whatever gas or whatever he needs to pull from me, and it won't send me into the negatives. And so then I don't feel guilty, or when he then like, because then I'm not like, am I spending beyond my amount right now? And am I starting to spend his money on my makeup? Or like when he goes and buys his shoes, I don't care what he buys, because it's like, that's not my paycheck. That's your paycheck. And so you want to buy your shoes, go for it. And so there's not really that. I mean, he'll be like, hey, Kate, you could have bought that cheaper. Or, hey, wait and buy XYZ first. But yeah, I think for us, it's just completely eliminated any of that stress of like, you're spending too much of our money, or you bought all this month and I only got to spend this much on my video game, but you got this and this and this. And it's like, no, we each have our own. And it's just something that like, we didn't want that stress in our marriage. Like we didn't want that financial stress with that. Like that was just one argument that we could just completely eliminate by having our own bank accounts. As long as the bills get paid, as long as I'm being responsible. And he's like, as long as you have the money in your account and you know what you have and you can help me pay for bills when needed, like,
yeah,
go for it. And so that's kind of something that like we both just kind of came to like a mutual understanding of it. We never really discussed it, which now I look at those little pieces and I'm like, we really just fit well together on some of this. Like this was never like a big blow up conversation or anything. And so that was pretty convenient. I was gonna go somewhere else with that, but that's the other thing is we do a lot of gift card spending for people that live in America. We have Kroger's, which is our gas station. It's like it's called Dillon's or Kroger or and so we do a lot of this is just like a saving tip. We buy a lot of things from gift cards. And so we'll buy like $100 Visa gift card, or we'll buy like gift cards to any food place we go to, like Panda Express or McDonald's or anything. I love Panda Express.
I miss Panda Express. Oh my God, we don't have that here.
So any food place that we want, we buy it on a gift card. And then because every month or so they do something called 4 times the fuel points. And so when you buy a gift card, you get 4 times your fuel points. And so then you can save it once you get like 1,000 fuel points, then you get $1 off every 35 gallons. So every gallon of gas up to 35 gallons is $1 off. So we save $35 or whatever on our gas each month. And so we do a lot of thrifty spending like that. So it's like, we're going to buy Panda Express anyways. So we'll buy the gift card when it's 4 times the fuel points. And then we then go spend that. And they do that with like Petco and PetSmart. And so like when I buy Buster's dog food, I go buy it on there first, or eBay or Amazon or Kohl's, anywhere we want to shop, we get the gift card first and then we pay it. So it's like,
that's a good idea. I do that with Starbucks. I don't go a lot to Starbucks, but let's say like I would put $25 on my Starbucks account. And like sometimes maybe I'm a little short on money and I'm like, oh, I can't really afford a Starbucks right now. But wait, I already have money there. Like I can go treat myself. And when I have a little bit extra money, I will put another 25 on it. So it happened to me recently. Like I was like, oh no, I shouldn't spend on the Starbucks, but I'm really craving it, but I already had it there. So it's okay to like if
because you had already put it on there.
Yep.
When you were in that's really smart.
Your $10 coffee.
Right. I still need to find a drink that I like there. I had one that I really liked, and then I learned that there was no coffee in it, and that's probably why I liked it.
Oh, well, I really like the chai latte with 1 or 2 extra doses of espresso. It's really good, but I'm addicted to coffee. I have a problem with that. Like,
see, I can't do the coffee taste. I don't like coffee.
I don't understand how people go about their day without caffeine. I do not understand. My mom cannot stand coffee either. And I'm like, you've been working for like, I don't know, 30 years now. And you get up every morning and you don't get a coffee. Like I've been on the marketplace for like maybe, I don't know, 15 years now, maybe a little bit more because I'm old. Yeah, maybe like 17 years now. And I'm not sure I would have gone through college without coffee. I don't know how I would have gone to like, you know, the all-nighters for university when I had to work and, you know, work on projects or, you know, party all night and the next morning you have to work at 8 a.m. So I think it's a miracle for people who don't like coffee. Like, how do you live?
I've tried. I don't know. I think there's been like 1 or 2 that I've been able to choke down if it had enough flavor and creamer and everything else in it. Like it can't taste like coffee.
Like when I used to go to the office, it was the same thing. Do not talk to me until I sat down at my desk and got my first sip of coffee. To be sure, wait until I'm like half through my coffee. Do not talk to me before my morning coffee. But even like I have a routine right now, whether I have the kids or not, I will get up like maybe I start working at 8 a.m. and I will get up at like 6:30 and just like make my coffee, go shower. When I'm out of the shower, my coffee's ready and I just go in the living room and I watch the news or whatever. But it's like it's my little quiet moment. And it's
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, my coffee is hot. And also when my kids were babies, I did not remembered what a hot coffee was because it was always like sitting on the counter. And it's like, oh, right, I made a coffee for myself 5 hours ago. So I'm just like, oh, it's my little coffee moment in the morning.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
a good little like self-care plan.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about credit cards, and like there's no shame in using them, but it's getting late and we've been talking for a long time, so we'll save that for another episode. But like all the, credit cards, line of credits, your credit score, like we're gonna address this another day.
Yes. Sounds good. We
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, because I'm tired and I need to go take an allergy pill. My throat is killing me.
You do that and I'll
Yeah.
watch my shows and maybe clean my room.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll
I don't
talk
know.
about
Hoarding,
hoarding
cleaning.
and cleaning and minimalism, and in probably on our next episode. I think that would be a great topic because we're so different about that.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I know sometime when we talk about finances, I can sometimes go talk a little bit about student loans.
Yeah, we definitely should
And,
address that because I got lucky because when I was like 3 years old, my great grandma passed away, and my grandma saved the money that she gave me into an account with high interest or low, whatever interest, an interesting rate, and so I only paid for my last semester of university, but also university doesn't cost as much here as in the US.
It's not like 20,000, 30,000 a year.
Nope, it cost me in total maybe $15,000, maybe.
That's it for the whole 4 years?
Well,
Okay,
I
we're
did
gonna
it in
have to
2
have
years and a half, but still, I had the same number of classes, and yeah, maybe 15K for my degree.
I guess that's what it would cost if you went to like a state school or a JUCO.
Yeah.
But-
So, guys, if you have any question, write us too. Do you remember our email address?
guidebooknotincluded@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we need to check it. What if people wrote to us?
I know, right? I've been checking it sometimes.
Okay.
And we did introduce Bester on we have our Instagram too, Guidebook Not Included.
Yeah, I will.
With gorgeous graphics from Val. Oh my goodness.
Well, I take them from Pixie Stock, shameless
They're so
plug.
good.
I love their photos. I just love everything that they have. It's so woman empowering and diversity and inclusion, and I just love their graphics and their promo materials.
One of these days you and I are gonna Zoom and you can show me all that. Because I'm gonna see the workings of that.
Yeah. And I think I should introduce this cat that's always there every time we have an
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Look at it curl. It got up and turned around.
Yep.
And repositioned right there.
Yeah, I think she's in a shrimp position right now. Yeah, her name is Dot. I should put up my cat's pictures on
What's
Instagram.
Her name?
Dot. D-O-T.
Okay, Dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dot. Yeah, so
I thought you said Dut, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, D-O-T.
Trying to figure out.
I say it with a French accent because that's how I named her. Dot.
And I'll try and watch an episode of RuPaul before next week. Or 2 weeks, just to try it out. So I know what you're talking about.
But again, first season is not as glamorous as the others. So maybe watch the new one, the latest one, season 12. It's on Netflix.
And go from there.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have questions or comments or follow us.
Suggestions.
Yes.
Like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. At some point, I promise I will put this up on the podcasting platforms. I need to stop telling myself I will do it tomorrow.
Well, one of these times we can Zoom together and you can show me how we're doing it too.
Yeah.
So I can watch the inner workings and we can talk each other through it. You can talk me through it while we're doing it, just so then you don't feel by yourself.
So yeah, bye everyone. I will go to bed and scratch my throat with a fork.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.